Let's go. Welcome back to Semen Retention, or welcome to the first time to my channel, Semen Retention. Talk about semen retention, self-improvement, all of the glitches and all of the obscure things that we might find within this so-called matrix or simulation, or maybe it's the real world. I don't know. You tell me. Today, I just want to run right off the top of the dome. As of today, it's been about 12 days since I restarted my streak. So if you've been keeping up with me, I lasted 15 months, 483 days, I think, and it all came to a halt with one release with a girl 12 days ago. But right now, I feel really good. I think I've got even more perspective of what I want to do with this new streak. I feel like, think about my first streak, my first long streak that I just did, 15 months. I think about that like as almost like making an album. And think about like you're making an album by yourself. It's the first time you ever do it. And think about all of the songs you've put in that album. You're thinking about all these ideas, these concepts that you're throwing in the album. You got some musicians you want to work with. You got a producer, you got a mixing engineer. You're doing all these things. You're learning these things as you go. But this is the first time you've ever done an album. So you don't understand that it's going to cost a lot of money. You don't understand that you have to spend even more money trying to promote it. You don't understand that the people that are playing your music, they're going to be busy with other commitments. You know, they have lives. They're going to fly around on vacation. They're going to go do their normal jobs. They're not going to just be in it for your reality. So you start to realize that with that insight of a first-time experience, it's not going to be perfect. And if we use an analogy of cooking, imagine you're making this dish. It's the first time you've ever done it. And you're making this dish and, you know, you've cultured this material to make some bread. And then you've done all the right things. You put it in the oven, you eat the bread, and it's not even that good. That's what I kind of feel like about my first streak, as in my first long streak. Like, 15 months is a long streak, guys, but it's not long, you know. I'd call it like a short, long streak. And I want to go on a longer streak, to be honest. I've got more things to improve. And so this time, I feel like I'm mastering the recipe. I feel like I understand all the tricks, all the tribulations that I'm going to go through whilst on semen retention. I understand that now it's not just about the individuals in my life. It's about external forces that are influencing individuals as such to become sentient programmers. Okay, now we're getting deep today, guys. We're getting deep today. Look, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel. I am going to be talking about some big things today. I've watched a few movies this week. I've been really busy with work, actually. I've been playing a lot of gigs, earning that money. This weekend's going to be a lot of gigs and a lot of money to make. So this kind of ties into what I'm talking about, right? There are people, in my opinion, there's 3 tiers to humanity, okay? We have NPCs, low vibers, and chosen. I've taken this model from a YouTuber called SRBG. You should check his channel out. SR and BG. He's a very charismatic, entertaining YouTuber. Check his channel out. So these are the 3 tiers. NPCs are the non-playable characters. The way I describe them is that they're unactivated spiritually. They have no connection to the divine. They might even be soulless. They could potentially just be soulless individuals from a biological point, meaning that they were born in this realm without the ability to feel more than emotions. They don't know how to feel spiritually connected to things. And I think some of them, even if they practice semen retention, they would just be like, okay, I feel more motivated. I will do some gaining muscle. I will do some get hot girl. I will do some releasing with hot girl. I will relapse and then start my cycle all over again because I am an NPC. So they've got this robotic sense to them because their finger's not on the pulse. They go with the flow of society. Right, that's an NPC. You get it? Okay. Whereas a low viber, also known as a sensual programmer, which I took that term from the Matrix. A sensual programmer is like an agent Smith. They understand what you are in, but they don't want you to transcend this reality. They are in charge of keeping you inside the cage. They want to keep you part of this whole system. They want to keep you to be a battery. They want to keep you to be the power source for the Matrix. Now, a chosen one, an anointed one, a true semen retainer. This is someone that sees the traps of the Matrix. Now, my experience on doing 15 months of semen retention is that the traps just get more intricate. But with that being said, us as retainers, we are so aware and ready to move when it is necessary in order to not be ensnared by one of these traps. So let me give you an example. I am a full-time musician. I play gigs every single week, okay? I played a gig last night, 9:30 till 1 a.m. on a Tuesday night. It went really well. Everyone loved it. The managers really loved it. They were like, when are you coming back and stuff, you know? And I love doing it because I like taking my job seriously. I like entertaining people and keeping the vibrations of the room high, okay? Now, the person that booked me for that gig, he's on this kind of timeline. He understands the importance of vibration and frequency and stuff. I wouldn't say he's that deeply connected, but he does understand it to a degree. Now, he offered me another gig on the Saturday. Now, here's the thing. I already took another gig this Saturday, but it was for a company that is very dodgy. They're like the McDonald's of the music industry. They just fling together the burger and chuck it out there, and even though the burger's full of shit, all the ingredients are flying over everywhere, you eat the burger and you feel unsatisfied. It doesn't matter. You still got what you paid for. You got the burger. That's what you wanted, okay? Now, that stuff actually destroys the music industry. And in fact, it will kill any industry. When you start to compromise quality in life, you are prioritizing death. Now, this guy that runs this other business that booked me for this Saturday gig, he's a con artist, okay? Now, I decided for the first time in my whole career to take another gig and shun this other gig to the side because I know that company, that bad company, that con artist, that McDonald's of the music industry, that is a matrix trap. Now, what that means is I would be playing this gig for them. there was a lot of inconveniences. There was a lot of little terms and conditions that I would have had to get around in order to get my payment and in order to do the gig. And I realized that this guy is just cutting a lot of corners and he makes it a lot harder for the people to work with. Now, going to the other guy that usually gives me my gigs, that wanted to book me for that Saturday night gig, he's like, I want you to play at that gig that you played at last night because I really loved you. Can you do this time? And I eventually said yes. Now, this meant I had to piss off someone else. This is a classic semen retention story, okay? In order to ascend and to remain on a higher timeline, you're going to have to piss off someone. This could be someone that felt like they had ownership of you or they had access to you because they did have access to you when you were operating on 304 hertz. But now you're operating on 888 hertz. And you're abundant and you're attracting things and you're not chasing things. You're just moving and grooving and swaying and swinging like it's the wonderful time of year. It's Christmas, like you just got that swag about you. You're just moving through the matrix. And then you see this guy being like, hey, you can't do that. It's like, but yeah, I can. And this is another thing that I want to bring up. To get through this matrix at a higher level, you have to start integrating your shadow. You have to start being the bad guy. Duh. Like that's what you have to become. You have to embrace being someone that someone's going to be like, that's unfair. They're breaking the rules. There's no such thing as rules. I know that sounds stupid, but I guess what I'm trying to say is when you are truly liberated, you will always find a way through. And this is what separates a spiritual person, a chosen person, to a low vibrer or an NPC, especially an NPC. An NPC looks at statistics, it looks at data, it looks at, the data suggests that, we should be doing this, so I'm going to be doing this because that's probability. It's like, no, you don't understand that when you put a positive node into the universal electromagnetic frequency, you put a positive node there, so it's radiating and it's magnetizing at a positive frequency, that's going to attract things to it. Now, on a statistics point of view, yes, the data suggests that majority of the populations don't know how to harness that positive, attractive electromagnetic frequency. So therefore, your science is correct in a sense that you won't be able to attract that because you are not enabling yourself to practice this type of energy, this type of magic, this type of thing. It's the same way when I play songs, I play the songs that I know this guy, this 50-year-old guy from UK over here, he's going to love it if I play a little bit of Rolling Stones. This old granny over here is going to love it if I play some of the Beatles. That lady might like if I play Elvis. Those couple of chicks over there might like it if I play some Ed Sheeran. And this is the thing, is that I'm sending these vibrations through the form of song, and I'm playing these songs with certain lyrics and chords and feelings and sounds that are attracting them to me. Therefore, I do the same thing in the non-musical realm. I do the same thing and I attract things to me because I'm putting out this positive node. I know what they will like. And I also do it for myself as well. So it's a win-win. Now, what it comes to as far as like upsetting people is that when you realize that you are attracting things into life and they're in a state of desperation, you can't really save them. they have to figure out a way out of their desperation. They have to figure out a way out of their mess. A lot of these people are so far under that it doesn't matter what kind of scheme you come up with, they're still going to kind of be stuck. And when desperate people are, looking around, that's when the vultures come, and that's when the vultures start hacking away on their bodies, chewing away on the little meat that's left on them. And they went for salvation. They went to the vultures being like, I want you to save me. I'm desperate. I need some money. And that's when the vultures just devour them. They're going to take them out. So unfortunately, as a chosen one, if they aren't willing to learn these esoteric, metaphysical practices, these important, transmutational exercises such as semen retention, allowing that seminal fluid to go into your brain, to go through your whole body, to give you so many nutrients in your body that you can just keep working, you keep attracting, you keep that voice sounding nice and sharp. And that is where you start to attract these things. But no. I'm going to consume a lot of junk food. I'm going to consume a lot of junk media. I'm going to consume. I'm not going to produce anything. The only thing I'm going to produce is complaints about the way it is. Okay, that's all BS. All right, I think I've covered that topic. I want to talk about something else now. So let's cut to a little intermission. And we're back. I wanted to show you something. I've graduated. I got my degree. It's a Bachelor of Arts in the Manosphere. So I've actually graduated the Manosphere. In case you're wondering what the Manosphere is, it's the red pill. It's the men's pickup and dating and, self-improvement environment. Because I've realized that, after studying it, after getting my degree, I graduated, and the final exam was realizing that it was all bullshit. It was realizing that it's just another matrix trap. It's just another way of keeping you stuck in attachment modes. I actually don't think the Manosphere is such a bad thing. I would say it's like one of the first tiers into awakening if you are a man that gets either rejected by women or divorced by your wife or, I don't know, have mummy issues. So when it comes to the Manosphere and red pill content, I recently have been kind of watching it mainly just for entertainment, like watching some guy in America or Australia just have a bitch about women for 30 minutes. And I realized, I was like, when I stopped paying attention to these kind of videos and I just started to take a break from it, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this. It's ego-based, it's attachment-based, it's quite shallow, it's keeping you in a dimension of division, it's creating an aura about you that keeps you separate from other people, and it's also attracting those that would be like the equivalent of feminists. So, or just people that are on that kind of like us versus them kind of frequency. Now, that's not to say that there is no such thing as manipulative forces that, might be influencing people and all that kind of stuff. But The reason why it's important to graduate the Manosphere and to transcend it is you want to get to the point where you start to realize that these, again, are just sentient programmers. People that are programming you into a state of misogyny, of, victimhood. Like, I've never seen any, there's a lot of men out there that like to play the victim. And that, to me, is not masculine. That's being a little bitch. Now, if you were practicing discernment, if you had spirituality, if you meditated, if you journaled, if you did the self-improvement before you entered in your relationship, you probably would have seen the red flags, but you didn't. You were an NPC and then you got played. So blame yourself, you fucking idiot. All right, so moving on from the Manosphere, I want to talk about these glitches and these manipulative things within the Matrix, especially when you're on semen retention. You understand your energy becomes a threat. I was coming back from my gig last week, exactly a week ago. No, tomorrow would be a week as of last week. But anyway, so I was coming back from my gig and I got there was some weird things when I was on my way to a gig. There was a guy that was staring at me a lot and he was just had this distinct kind of look. And then on my way back from the gig, I was walking past a telephone, one of those public telephones, and it literally rang as I was approaching it. And I look around, see if there's anyone around me to answer the phone, because those things don't just ring by themselves. So I pick up the phone. Hello? Nothing. Hello, how you going? They didn't say anything. There was someone on the line. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. Yourself? Still, they didn't get the humor. But I was like, well, at least they know I'm in good spirits. So I hung up the phone. Now, there's been some interesting things. When I was watching The Matrix, I started to realize Agent Smith in The Matrix kind of plays this kind of role of, he's a parasite. He becomes, well, he can turn any host into an Agent Smith. Any host being an NPC. Now, NPCs are going to overreact. NPCs are so emotional, they don't understand. Okay, so the other day I backed my car and I touch a car's front bar or whatever. I didn't know I was touching it. I was just relaxing in my car. The lady comes out to me and she's like screaming. She's like, "You hit my car! You hit my car!" And I'm like, I'm just on the chillest time, bro. Don't worry about it. I didn't say that, but like that was my vibe. And then she's like, "You hit my car." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Can I have your license?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yep. I don't have my license, blah, blah, blah." She went straight to get all my information. "Give me all your information because I've got to make sure that I get my money to fix my car." And then, I just did it because I'm like, apart from these guitars, I don't have anything to lose. So I just gave her it. And then she's like, "Can you please move your car forward just so I can inspect the damage?" I was like, "Yep, no worries." Move my car forward. And then she's like, "Oh, there's no damage. Don't worry about it. Thank you." Okay, so you wanted to take all my information. You didn't inspect the car if it was actually damaged. But because you're an NPC, but because you are so stuck in this low frequency, you have to harvest my information first. You have to project this negative frequency, this irritating, squawking, terrible voice. And then you suddenly just brush it off. It's like, it's cool, I'm chill. But that, my friends, is what a sensual programmer is. They're going to go into the NPC. They're going to get into their head and be like, look, he's touched your car, put him in a bad vibration. But it didn't affect me. I'm like Teflon. It just flies off me. I am protected. Semen retention is protecting me. God is protecting me. So when people are like, hey, you are being very selfish for cancelling this gig that I gave you. It's like, call me what you want. I'm not doing that gig because I know it's not going to be a positive experience. And you've got time to fix the issue. I'm not doing such a bad thing here. I'm just making sure that my frequency is protected. And look, there's a silver lining. Now you get to play the gig because you didn't have a gig. So there's some people that are just, they're getting, these sensual programmers aren't things that we necessarily see. They can be what I'm learning, and don't ask me questions about this. I am a mere student. I am a mere baby learning to crawl throughout the halls of deep, deep, deep esoteric wisdom. Now, what I want to talk about is these sensual programmers might actually be hyperdimensional beings that we can't see. Now, what this could be is it could be the phone call that I got. It could be the fact that I was on a phone call today, and when I started talking about a certain subject, my voice and his voice started manipulating. Almost as if something was distorting our voices. So on my previous video, I talked about peacocking. Don't peacock. Don't draw attention to yourself. At the end of the day, we're being watched and we're under surveillance, whether we like it or not. But as much as you can, blend in, just so then people don't project their negative energy onto you. So yeah, that's essential programming. You know, they're people that can, they're parasitic entities. They have the ability to manipulate NPCs into becoming, you know, I guess, you know, let's just say anti-semen retainers. They want you to lust. They want you to be angry. They want you to throw a fit and have to release. They want you to do all that. But, yeah. Look, I'm going to end the video right there. This is going to be a long video, but I wanted it to kind of cover a few things. I wanted to take a little intermission break because I had a lot to say. It's been a while since my last video, but I just, there's so much more that I hadn't covered in today's video, but I'm going to have to make another video. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing all great. Shout out to my OGs that are still following my channel. I love you boys. Well, you're not boys, you're men, you're divine masculine men. So, peace out, boys and men. And I'll catch you on the next video. Like this video, subscribe to Steven Retention, and I'll see you on the next one, fellas. Peace.